Eyes ready.
Most police officers will never fire their service weapon on the job. Still, an officer must be ready and able should the situation ever demand it.
Our goal is we need to stop the threat that is coming towards us.
Recruit Mary Mills arrived at the St. Louis County and Municipal Police Academy, having completed firearms training during her time in the Coast Guard.
You really have to focus in on thinking about drawing your weapon out, presenting on a target, thinking about gripping your gun and your trigger pull, making sure everything's smooth, and making sure that that bullet is going where you want it to go.
Recruit Octavia Heron got 1 day of firearms training in the Air Force Reserves.
It was way more training here than for the military.
And before joining Class 193, recruit Trevor Green had never touched a gun.
I was one of those people who didn't think that you necessarily needed a gun. But now, shooting a gun, controlling that weapon, that machine, has kind of changed my mind about it.
Recruits get at least 94 hours of instruction and training over 8 weeks to help them get a solid grasp of the fundamentals.
If your hand isn't hurting after, then you didn't grip it tight enough.
They become skilled marksmen using multiple firearms and both hands from varying distances.
You have to trust your gun, you have to trust your grip, you have to trust your arm strength, and you have to basically know that what you're doing is about to potentially destroy what's in front of you.
Recruits are trained to shoot for their target's core.
We are not going to be very accurate when we're shooting in a stressful, fast situation. So we want to shoot somewhere that we're most likely to hit them and also most likely to stop the threat.
We've been taught to aim for the biggest part of our body, which is not a toe, it's not a foot.
You only have literally split seconds to make a decision. So you don't really have time at all to let me shoot him in the leg.
Draw your weapon out, electrify the rear.
If all else fails, they aim for the head.
If I have my gun out and I feel like I need to use my gun, then it's because it's a deadly force situation. They are threatening my life. They are going to cause me either serious physical injury or they are going to kill me if I do not shoot them. And that is why I am justified to use that firearm.
Once recruits master their skills at the range, it's time to head inside to combine that training with their understanding of human behavior.
He's got a knife!
He's got a knife.
So you need to put down the knife.
Put down the knife, sir.
Earlier this year, the St. Louis Police Foundation purchased a new tool for officers in the county. Class 193 is the first group to have the VirTra system as part of their training from day one.
It's an invaluable tool. There's no way other than them being there to get any sort of training like this.
Sergeant John Wall says the 300-degree state-of-the-art virtual reality training system uses scenarios from real-life encounters.
They have to decide not only when to speak, but what to say.
Wall controls what happens next, from the characters' words to their actions, based on how the recruits are performing.
To actually have that interaction and to feel a piece of that stress that you're going to feel when you're out on the street and then have to make a decision and be able to physically, pull out a weapon and use that in that scenario, in a very realistic scenario, is just invaluable training.
VirTra expands upon the range training and gives recruits the chance to actually decide when to shoot and when to hold back.
So I have to decide who's a suspect, who has a gun, who's a student just running down the hallway. We don't get those opportunities at the gun range.
Like many of their lessons, recruits learn the foundations of self-defense and concepts of use of force. Each department has its own policy for when to use force and how much force to use.
It makes us start imagining what we could encounter out on the street, which we talk about is a very effective tool to make sure that you're imagining situations. What if this would happen? How would I respond to it?
I'm not taking this anymore.
Sir!
I'm calling my lawyer.
Sir, can you walk towards me, please? Put your hands up.
So what if this were to happen? How would recruits respond when chaos breaks loose? Next, Class 193 will be called to respond to an active shooter. Recruits will shoot and be shot at as they work together to stop the threat. That's still to come as part of Fox 2's exclusive look inside the Academy.